Hey, and welcome to the final level of Alien World Order. This is Hollywood Inferno. I have a few bugs to bear with this level. I don't particularly like it, and I'm going to be upfront about that. I think this is a very disappointing level for this episode to end on, in particular when you consider all the things they could have done with this. This is a very linear level. It feels more like a drag through enemies, rather than offering up anything nostalgic or anything that could really serve as a final exploration piece for the player. But we'll talk about that at the end of the level. We have to make our way up this linear cliff face here. There's a bunch of enemies and they come at us thick and fast at various points. It's important we don't let them overwhelm us. Health is not super abundant on here either, so it's probably in our best interest to just take our time at various points.
Come get some.
Grab the chain gun there.
Hail to the king.
There's a bunch of Reapers around this corner, and there's a Battle Lord at the back. A secret to the right here as well, so we can grab that armor and then take out the enemies further up there. This is not a good situation to be in because he's just going to keep chipping away at my health. Luckily I left these health packs down here just in case I ended up needing them. That took a lot more health than I really wanted it to, so gonna have to be careful as we make our way up the second half of this cliff face. Lovely view here. Unfortunately, it's spoiled by the huge amount of enemies who are looking to shoot me in the face with rockets. I like using the cliff face here as a way to defend myself from the rockets. Oh god, hello. That very nearly went wrong there. If he'd launched a rocket at me, I would not have known it was coming. Once we've taken care of these enemies, we can head up further. There's more enemies to deal with up top, but luckily not as annoying as that little barrage there. We've just got to deal with this little cluster of enemies coming up here. We're going to try and use the cactus here to not, get hit by the rockets. That's failing spectacularly because of splash damage. Ah yes, of course. These enemies are going to start spawning in as we approach the pods over here. Picking up that medkit there brings all of these into play. We won't be coming back to this area, so it's a good idea for us to grab all the items, ammo, health, whatever we need really. There's a few Reapers in the car park area at the top here. You can see there are two enemies over there firing rockets at me. These are the mini bosses, and we just got to be very careful. Their rocket damage could do some real damage to me. If we use this police car here though, if I can tempt them to sort of shoot into that endlessly, maybe I'll be able to get them to kill themselves. You can see the one on the left there is just having an absolute time shooting himself. I think he's just blown himself up. The one on the right is definitely on his way to following him. I do kind of like this area. I really wish there was more to this level than what we get, but I do like this sort of highway intersection area. I like that it kind of hints at a bigger play area. Let's take out the trip mines here. As we make our way through this tunnel section, the ground is going to start giving way, and as you can see, there's yet more enemies at the bottom here who are just looking to use me as target practice. There's a heap of octo brains between us and the end of this section, so I'm just going to take a quick moment to take them all down. Is he dead? So he's still alive down there, but he's not taking shots at me here, which is pretty interesting. Maybe I'm just outside of the range for him to actually shoot me with his rockets. I'm not going to complain though. I'm going to cheat. I'm just going to cheat my way to victory there. We have to head inside this door over here. And we're coming towards the end of a level here, but of course, because this is a final level in an episode, there's going to be a bunch of enemies for us to deal with, and of course there's going to be a boss. The boss of this episode is a letdown, a massive letdown, a huge letdown. It is a Cyclone Incinerator, and the reason I'm telling you about it early is because I'm going to do nothing but moan about it for the next few minutes. But let's grab this secret here before I begin my tirade.
Come get some.
Before we go through the teleporter at the top there, gonna grab all the items I can from here. The final boss fight is nothing at all, and you'll see what I mean as we make our way through the teleporter here. Let's do this. I don't even know what that switch does there. The boss fight here is a reskin of the same boss fight that we basically saw at the end of the third episode. However, unlike at the end of Shrapnel City, where he was firing missiles at us and that was a hazard that we had to actively avoid, we can literally just stay a few yards away from him. He cannot hit us. His flame does not reach us from a distance. And because this area is so generous with all the items it gives you, all the weapons, these pig cops here are more of a threat to us than he is. It is ridiculous that they thought this was a good way to end this episode. And as I said, the pig cops are more of a problem because they can actually hit us. They will turn around and hit us with their firing. And the pig cops can shoot us with their shotguns, but that enemy down there is shooting into nothing but air, not hitting us, and it's just ridiculous to me. I'm sorry. I remember when I first played this, I was so disappointed by this. This was such a letdown because there's so many different things they could have done. I would have even accepted all three of the bosses from the previous episodes together in one epic battle here would have been better than this. And as you can see, the tactic is pretty clear. Stay away from him, he'll run towards us, but we don't actually have to sort of avoid much because he doesn't have any range. It's pathetic. It is legitimately pathetic, and I always try to be positive when we're playing through these games, but this is just not the way this should have ended. And that's Duke Nukem 3D World Tour Edition in a nutshell. There's a lot to unpack with this episode and this version of the game. The fact that this game came out in the way that it did, the fact that it superseded previous versions of the game which arguably had more content, arguably a bit better content as well, is probably one of the reasons why this game, even today, has a bad reputation among fans, and I'm completely on board with that. I didn't really like this when it came out. I played it on release day, I went through it once, didn't think much of it, and then never came back to it. This is actually the first time I've gone back to play this episode since the game's launch, and while I appreciate the effort, the scale of some of the levels, the ideas, it's very hard to not feel that they mishandled quite a lot of the elements here. The new audio I do not like from Duke Nukem. Duke Nukem's voice just doesn't work for me in this, and when I was trying to put this playthrough together, I did look at ways to get around that and use the old voices, but it was very hit and miss. I'm also not a fan of some of the new levels. Some of the new levels are very long. They go on for way too long in my opinion. Not very well focused in points, and the flow of some of the levels just doesn't work for me. I also feel that the new enemies, or the lack of new enemies that are actually decent, is a problem, and I don't think that the enemies added in this episode really add much to the canon of Duke Nukem overall. Honestly speaking, with all the time they had to put this together, I would have expected more in that regard. But if you enjoy this, I think that's great. If you think this is a great episode of Duke Nukem 3D and you consider this among the classics, then great for you. I'm really happy you enjoy it. I think it's fun, it's a nice little novelty, but I definitely won't be returning to play this anytime soon. Let me know what you think of Hollywood Inferno and what you thought of Alien World Order overall. Thank you so much for watching.